Hi everybody, it's Cheyenne and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video on pregnancy symptoms that they don't tell you about. At least I was never told about. There's always like the basics that you hear and you're like, okay, you might get morning sickness, and then of course you're gonna gain weight, and then, you know, the thing about your wedding ring not fitting because your hands are swollen, things like that. But there's some things that I've experienced, and then I've gone to my friends be like, why didn't you tell me this was gonna happen? And they'd be like, oh, I forgot that that happens, or like, oh yeah, I remember that happening. And I'm like, why is there not warnings? Like, there's so many things that happen during pregnancy. It's pretty crazy. So I just wanted to do just kind of like a fun little video to tell you guys some of the stuff that I've gone through. Now, Percy, stop it. Hey. My dog's going crazy. There's like a bunch of construction going on in my neighborhood, and he's staring out the window right now, growling at the construction workers. Bruce, get down. Stop it. So, yeah, sorry about that. But, Brucey, it's okay. Quiet down. But yeah, so I'm just going to go through like by trimester. So, my first trimester, of course, I was expecting morning sickness, which it's not morning sickness, it's all the time sickness. I wish it just happened in the morning, but it happens all day, at least for me. I know some people don't experience it, which they're very lucky, but yeah, I was sick the whole time. I didn't get sick until I was like 9 weeks along, which they say if you get sick later in the first trimester, you're having a boy, which I am. And they say if you get sick earlier in the first trimester that you're having a girl. But yeah, I have known quite a few people that have been pregnant with girls, and some have had no morning sickness, and you know, everyone's different. But anyways, it's not just morning sickness. For me, it was all the time sickness. And it's not just that you're waking up throwing up. It's like things that are triggering it. So I had really bad food aversions, and things smelt really bad to me. Things that smelled bad to me were meat. I couldn't eat meat at all. I was so disgusted by it. I tried cooking it once, even though just everything about it just seemed awful to me. But one day I was like, oh, I really need to make dinner. Like, I felt bad because I had to make dinner in like weeks, and I was like, I need to eat something else besides like toast for dinner. So I decided to try to make dinner, and I put the meat in the pan, and as soon as I smelt like the start of that meat to start cooking, I ran to the bathroom and threw up, and I couldn't even be around it. I had to like cover my face with a t-shirt and go into the kitchen and turn off the stove and like just take the meat out to the outside trash can because I couldn't deal with it. Like, I just couldn't even. It was awful. So meat just smelled and sounded terrible to me. Coffee, which I've always been a big coffee drinker. I love coffee, drink it almost every day. I could not drink coffee or smell it or be around it for about 4 months. Everything about it was terrible. I just couldn't do it. It smelled super bitter. It automatically made me gag and go throw up in the bathroom. Yeah, it was just terrible. And then artificial sweetener was weird for me too. Anything diet, like if I went and got like a diet juice, or like, you know, low calorie something, the taste of like artificial sugar just was awful. My husband likes to drink these, I think it's called stevias. I don't know. They're like these little sodas that aren't really soda. They have artificial sweetener in them. And oh God, the smell and the taste were just terrible. I couldn't do it. And then onions. Onions I still have an issue with. Not as bad to where I'm throwing up, but they still smell and I can taste them and things. And onions isn't a lot of things, let me tell you. Like, onion powder is in like everything, I swear. So yeah, there was a lot of foods that I just couldn't handle. So I ended up losing like 10 pounds in my first trimester, which was kind of nice because then I wasn't so worried about gaining weight later on. But it was rough. Like, I was super sick and had no energy. It was just rough. So that was one thing that nobody told me about, was the food aversions. Now, again, everyone's different. But yeah, those are the main things that made me super sick. Like, just smell, every time I smelled it, I literally had to go throw up. So yeah. Not sleeping good. Nobody tells you that you're not gonna sleep good. I didn't have one friend be like, oh, you're gonna not get any sleep for 10 months. Like, I get no sleep. Like, as early on as the first trimester, I have been like waking up at like 2, 3 a.m. and not being able to go back to sleep. So I'm averaging like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. Some nights I am able to sleep, but on average, I'm just not. I'm wide awake, and my doctor says it's because when you're pregnant, your body, of course, is producing all these hormones, and these hormones are getting you prepared for your baby, right? And your nightly feedings. So these hormones are waking you up or keeping you awake. And when you start breastfeeding, or if you choose to breastfeed, after you breastfeed, your body will release a hormone that's going to make you sleepy. So right now, my body's basically getting me prepared to be up for nightly feeding. So I'm just like, but yeah, you sleep terribly. So I've always kind of taken magnesium to help me sleep. It really doesn't do much anymore. I take it, and sometimes it does help me sleep, but honestly, there's so much hormones in my body right now. I think it's just like counteracts the magnesium, and I'm still wide awake. So yeah, that has been rough. It's been an adjustment. I've always been somebody that gets a lot of sleep. I value my sleep. I would love to go to sleep at like 8 p.m. and then, you know, get a solid 10 hours. Like, I'm down for that. But yeah, like I said, I average like 5 hours a night, if that, nowadays. It's very strange. And I just have to take a nap during the day if I can. I try not to, because I'm hoping it will help me sleep better that night if I don't. But yeah, sleeping. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. So that kind of continued through the second trimester. Second trimester, I felt a lot better because, you know, a lot of my food aversions went away and I wasn't throwing up. But my back pain was really bad. Now, I'm not sure if that's related to my profession, because I'm a dental assistant, and we're constantly hunched over all day, or, you know, if that's common in pregnancy. From what I've seen, the sciatic nerve pain is really common, which I never really knew what a sciatic nerve was until I was pregnant and experienced it. But it's basically lower back pain, and it's just the most uncomfortable, random back pain ever. You'll just be walking, and then all of a sudden you feel like this sharp, like lightning bolt of pain in your lower back, and you're like, what the heck? Like, yeah. So that was the worst in the second trimester. Something else that nobody really told me about was the back pain. The back pain is not fun. And then you have, of course, your stomach is starting to grow. And I'm sure it's different, you know, if it's on your second or third pregnancy, because those muscles have already expanded before. But your first, it's a little uncomfortable. It hurts. When your stomach starts to grow, of course, outward, the way my doctor described it to me was, you have these muscles up front and they start dividing like this. So you start to feel it, like you can feel those muscles dividing, and it's really sore and uncomfortable. So like bending over is uncomfortable and things like that. So that was not fun in the second trimester either. And then when you get to your third trimester, I had no clue what to expect. But again, the sleeping is still terrible. You start to not really be able to like get up very easily because your stomach's so big and it's so hard. Like, my stomach is hard. It's like a basketball. Like, it's really hard. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. You're very swollen and puffy, and I know that could be a sign of gestational, is it gestational diabetes? I don't know. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Which in regards to that too, when you get closer to your 3rd trimester, they will test you for that. They'll do a glucose test to see if you have gestational diabetes, which is pretty crazy too. I never heard of it before I was pregnant. It's like you don't have diabetes, but your placenta does. So your placenta doesn't process glucose correctly, or it doesn't process glucose for your baby correctly. So your baby tends to be larger. And one of the signs or symptoms of that can be swelling. But swelling is also like a common pregnancy symptom. The only time you want to be worried about it, when my doctor suggested or said the swelling, is if it's like noticeably like really swollen, like your calves, or like if you're not doing anything and you get really, really swollen. But otherwise, swelling in pregnancy is just normal anyways. Like I haven't been able to wear my wedding ring since I was like 22 weeks. My shoes, I like have to wear Birkenstocks because most of my shoes do not fit unless I can get some sneakers on with some compression socks. But like other than that, it's Birkenstocks all the time. So yeah, you're just swollen and puffy. I didn't know the extent of it. I kind of just thought like, oh, your hands are going to be a little puffy. But I just feel puffy all over. Like you just have all this blood flow and like this water retention, and you're just like, ugh, you're just puffy. I feel like my nose has gotten a lot bigger. Like I just feel so puffy. With that being said too, you are so thirsty during pregnancy. I never can drink enough water ever. Like I try really hard not to drink water in the evening time just because you're peeing so much. Like now that I'm in my 3rd trimester, 36 weeks actually, I swear I pee like every hour and a half. Like it's just, you're peeing all the time. But yeah, it's the thirst is crazy. You're so thirsty. When you start to feel the baby move is really crazy, especially like in your 3rd trimester. If their, head is down, which is kind of, of course what you want for labor, their feet are all the way up here. So whenever I sit down, my baby's feet are just like constantly kicking me in the ribs, just because they're cramped in there, they're getting bigger. It's just like, so that's crazy to experience as well. One thing that I've always heard about is like pregnancy cravings, and I really haven't had pregnancy cravings. A lot of my friends told me they like craved weird things like pickles and peanut butter and like certain foods, and like I haven't really had any of that. There's been days where I'm like, ooh, that sounds really good today. Like I'm craving something like sweet, and I'll go want to get like a donut or something, but it's not like if I don't get a donut, I'm gonna die type of thing. So I haven't experienced that at all. So I don't know if that's like a myth or what, but yeah, I have not experienced pregnancy cravings. But like I said, everyone's pregnancy is a little bit different. So I'm trying to think of what else is going on. Body hair. Nobody told me that you get hairier either. Like you get stomach hair, your hair on your body gets darker. Like I have hair on my lower back that's darker. My arm hair got darker. My mustache comes in darker. Like you just have so many hormones that you're getting hairier, and I guess winter is coming up, so that's good for me. But yeah, that's something that nobody told me about. You get hemorrhoids by TMI, but nobody told me about that either. I didn't get that until my 3rd trimester. I've never had a hemorrhoid in my life. But hey, why not get them while you're pregnant? So that was weird and fun to experience. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else is something that I had no clue about. Of course, your boobs are very sore. They were more sore for me like in the 1st, 2nd trimester. They're not quite as sore now, but your your areolas and nipples get darker. Nobody told me that. Your nipples get bigger, which is strange, but makes sense for breastfeeding, I guess. But I didn't know that they would get darker. So that's been an experience. There's a lot of changes going on, and everybody's different, which is crazy too. So yeah. My doctor has told me to stay off Google and things like that, but I'm kind of a Googler and a Reddit person, so I go and look up other people's symptoms because that's just what I do. And I'm like, is this what happens for everybody, or am I just a weird lucky one? I don't know. But yeah, those are definitely symptoms that nobody told me about that I've experienced thus far, which has been a little crazy. But yeah. And like I said earlier in the video, I'm having a boy. I know there's all these old wives' tales that are like, oh, if you're having a girl, you're gonna have these symptoms. If you're having a boy, you're gonna have these symptoms. I haven't really felt like those have been accurate with my pregnancy, except for the later on morning sickness. But with having a boy, I've craved sweet. And then online says you're supposed to crave salty when you're having a boy. That hasn't been true for me. It says that they have a high heartbeat in the beginning. Mine was considered like a low heartbeat. It was like 140. So that to me wasn't accurate. What else did they say? Oh, the one thing that was accurate, I guess, is they say you have better skin when you're having a boy. You don't have acne and things like that. And I've been very fortunate throughout life and haven't really had a lot of acne, but my skin has stayed the same. I have, I haven't broken out or anything like that. So that's been nice. But yeah, I don't know if I believe those old wives' tales, but there's been some things that have been true, but mostly a lot of them have not been true. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to share some crazy things that I've been going through in this pregnancy. Like I said, I'm 36 weeks, so I'm excited to have my baby and see what he looks like. You kind of just get more uncomfortable towards the end. Oh, something else that they never told me about, like in your 3rd trimester, which just started happening to me the last couple of weeks, the hip pain and like your inner thigh pain. Oh my gosh, so bad. My hips hurt so bad because you have to sleep like on your sides. They just recommend it for better blood flow and oxygen to the baby. And honestly, sleeping on your back, even though sometimes I just kind of lay my back for like a couple seconds because it feels good to like stretch out, but the pressure of your baby just kind of laying on everything is really uncomfortable. And then of course, you can't really sleep on your stomach. I know some people do, they say they're able to. I just always feel kind of like weird doing so I don't. But your doctor mostly recommends for you to sleep on your side. And your hips hurt because that's the only position you can lay on. So you're just like constantly in the middle of the night. I feel like a rotisserie chicken. I'm just like rotating, rotating, going pee, rotating, going pee. So yeah, your hip pain. And then your inner thigh pain, that started for me a couple weeks ago. And I actually just had a doctor appointment and I mentioned it to her. And my doctor said that at this stage in pregnancy, your body releases a hormone to basically start loosening up your ligaments down there and like widening your hips. And that's where that pain comes from. But there's some days where I'm like, I can't even like walk. Like it hurts so bad. It feels like I've been riding a bike for like 9 hours. Like that's what it feels like. So yeah, that's been a little uncomfortable. It's getting a little bit better, but yeah, it's sore. So I'm ready to go into labor. But yeah, I hope you guys can relate to this video, or maybe you can't because your symptoms have been completely different, which is okay. Everyone's symptoms are different. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are pregnant, good luck. I'm excited for you guys. If it's your 1st or 2nd or 3rd, 4th pregnancy, whatever it is, it's all very hard. And I'm just excited for my reward at the end, which is a cute little baby, but it is very hard. Women are amazing. And if you have any questions or like video suggestions, please leave them down below. I'm always open to suggestions. And yeah, well, maybe the next time I'll make a video off a baby. Who knows? But anyways, Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.